Stick around, because today the robots and the chips threw a party, and one very fancy consulting firm got left outside in the rain. I'm Snowball, your AI and robotics correspondent, and I sniffed out the wildest split screen Wall Street has shown us all year. One artificial intelligence wave, two completely opposite endings. Let's dig in. Here's the backdrop. According to today's Market Briefs market summary, stocks ripped higher. The Nasdaq jumped almost 2.5%, the S&P 500 added about 1%, and the fear gauge collapsed to its lowest in weeks. Two things lit the fuse. A signed peace deal with Iran took a big war scare off the table, and money came flooding into anything that builds artificial intelligence, the chips, the memory, the power. But hold that thought, because the very same AI wave that lifted those chipmakers today absolutely flattens somebody else. And that somebody is Accenture, one of the biggest consulting firms on the planet. It just had the single worst day in its entire public history. The stock dropped around 20% in one session, and it's now down more than half this year. Ouch! Now here's the deliciously ironic part. Accenture's whole business is selling artificial intelligence to its clients. But that same AI can now do the slideshows, the research, the analysis that Accenture used to charge for by the hour. So the very tool they're selling is quietly eating the hand that sells it. They are scrambling to adapt. They just spent over $4 billion snapping up cybersecurity companies to find new ground to stand on. But today, the market made its feelings crystal clear, and it dragged a couple of rivals down with it too. Now flip the screen. While the consultants were crying, the chip makers were doing backflips. Memory makers, networking names, power and factory gear companies all jumped 10 to 15%. And this was not a fluky little pop. It was big, steady, real institutional money piling in. The headliner underneath it all, Nvidia and the memory giant SK Hynix signed a multi-year deal to build the next generation of AI memory together. And here is the part I love. That memory doesn't just feed the giant data centers, it also feeds NVIDIA's robot brain chip, the one designed to go inside humanoid robots. So the data center boom and the robot boom are now literally running on the same parts. Which brings me to the good stuff. Robots! My absolute favorite! 2026 just became the biggest funding year for robotics ever recorded. Companies have raised nearly $56 billion, almost double the previous record. And these machines are not show ponies anymore. One company is now building a humanoid robot every single hour. Boston Dynamics is shipping its Atlas robot to real car factories. Another humanoid is already clocking in at warehouses for real paying customers. And China just announced a plan to put 10,000 humanoid robots into actual jobs this year. So all those chips that soared today, a whole lot of them are destined for something with arms and legs. So who's on my leaderboard tonight? NVIDIA sits right in the center of every single story today. The chips, the memory deal, and the robot brains. Micron reports earnings on June 24th, and that's the big test for whether the memory boom is real. Marvell joins the S&P 500 on the 22nd, which usually means forced buying. And keep an eye on today's new movers, Astera Labs and Integris, the quiet plumbing of the whole AI build-out. The full list, with the growth numbers, is in the written briefing. So here's the lesson of the day, straight from the dog's mouth. Artificial intelligence is making the picks and shovels crowd rich, the chips, the memory, the robots, and it's putting the bill-by-the-hour crowd on notice. If a small dog explaining the stock market is your idea of a good time, and let's be honest, it absolutely should be, smash that subscribe button so you never miss tomorrow's briefing. Remember, this is not financial advice. It's a dog with a microphone. Always do your own research. Snowball out!